What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar, and welcome back to another episode of the Survivor Season Series Review. This week we are talking about Survivor Samoa. It is the 19th season of Survivor. It takes place on the island, or in the islands of Samoa, basically American Samoa, South Pacific, whatever you want to call it. And it features, I believe it's 18 castaways or 20, I don't remember. I don't remember if it was 18 or 20. But yeah, you have the Galoo tribe, the Fofoa tribe, and this season overall gets a mixed reaction, honestly, or for the most part, because of its cast and challenges and stuff and all its memorable moments. And I'm going to talk about that here. What did I think of Survivor Samoa? The definition of Survivor Samoa for me is it's a one-man show. And it really is a one-man show. Because without this one man on this season would have been totally forgettable. Like, there's no way I would have remembered anything from this season if it weren't for one cast member. And I'll talk about him in a little bit. But, I mean, for the other cast members, there's Shambo. I mean, her real name is Shannon. She takes her name after Rambo, I think. Something like, I don't remember. But yeah, there's Shambo, there's Natalie, there's Jason, Mick, Brett, Eric, Dave, Monica. I'm just listing off random names. None of these people are really all that memorable. John, I guess he was okay. Kelly, Laura. Laura's rivalry with Shambo was alright, I guess. And then, of course, you have some pre-merge boots like Russell Swan and Mike Barassi, who are both medically evacuated. You have Marisa, Ashley, Liz, Yasmin. Those are all the people that I can remember. Ben, I guess I should talk about Ben a little bit as well. Only guy to be kicked out of a challenge by Jeff Probst. Or at least kicked out the way he got kicked out. I don't know. I mean, it's not like the Survivor Thailand challenge where you're running across the water and you have to be in the attack zone. It's not like that. He got kicked out for a totally different reason. But the main guy on this show is Russell Hantz. We all know who he is. He's the most infamous Survivor player of all time, pretty much. He's like the big bad villain, the guy that nobody likes, the guy no one ever wants to see win the show. And yeah, the guy who goes and finds idols without finding clues, or without using clues. He was the first person to do that, and he was a game changer. He really was. And he was a big reason that this season was like as liked by some people as it was, because again, without him, this season would have been totally forgettable. There's nobody else on this season that came anywhere close to where Russell was at. I wasn't a huge fan of Russell, personality-wise. He was just kind of meh for me. But, like, he goes and burns socks, dumps water, makes life a living hell for people at camp, goes around and looks for idols and finds them without using any clues. He was the first player to ever find an idol without a clue, at least that I know of. I guess you could say Gary Hogaboom did it in Guatemala, but I mean, he kind of figured it out a little later on, and plus it was the first time Russell found this type of idol without a clue. He was the first player to even think of doing that. Like, 19 seasons into Survivor, some people finally figure out, oh, I can find an idol without a clue. Easy. And Russell does it. So, good on him. And of course, his strategic game was absolutely insane. It was aggressive. It was all over the place. He lied. He backstabbed people. But when you think about it, Russell is really not like as deceiving as you might think he is. He's deceiving to people that are not in his alliance. But when you look at his alliance, his main alliance stuck around all the way till the end of the game. He was aligned with Natalie, Jason, and Mick, with those three. And he managed to get all of them to the end. So, yeah, his tribe was down 8-4 at the final 12. And that was when the merge happened. So you thought, oh my gosh, Galoo is going to absolutely sweep Foa. It's going to be a Final 8 Galoo. Russell's not going to last too long because he can't keep finding idols forever. I mean, it got him through the final 11 Tribal Council, which was a key part to the game. Him just pulling that idol out and blindsiding Kelly off the island. That was a key element to the game, or that was a key turning point, I should say, of the game. And then, of course, he got Shambo, the outsider of Galoo, to flip on her tribe, mainly because of her rivalry with Laura, which I, again, think it's an okay rivalry. It's not a great one, though. Laura was just kind of there this season. I don't know why she was ever brought back in later seasons, like Blood versus Water, I guess because her daughter could play. I don't know. But, yeah, Laura was just kind of there to be a rival to Shambo. She did kind of make a deal with Russell. The weird pre-merge twist after each reward challenge was, the captain, I'll get to captains in a little bit, the captain of a tribe had to send one person from the winning tribe over to the losing tribe. The captain of the winning tribe did this, by the way. Had to send one person from the winning tribe over to the losing tribe's camp until the next immunity challenge or something like that. Yeah, which was an interesting twist. It didn't really come into play too much. I mean, Shambo was sent over, Laura was sent over, Yasmin was sent over once. Yasmin had her little blow up with Ben over being thrown to the ground by him. And again, I mentioned Ben getting tossed from a challenge for cheap shotting people, I guess is what he was doing. I don't remember, something like that. But yeah. So Ben, he was a character for the short time he was around, but not really too much. And then, of course, you have the medevacs, Barassi getting medevaced in the same challenge that Ben got tossed from. He got medevaced. And then Russell Swan, the leader of the Galoo tribe, gets medevaced because his blood pressure was really super low. His heart rate was fluctuating. He essentially almost died, is what it came off as. But yeah, he blacked out, he fainted, and they decided that he had to be pulled from the game. So yeah. Now let's talk about the leaders, the whole leaders twist. So at the beginning of the game, each tribe designates a leader based on votes, anonymous votes, basically. They don't know who everyone else is yet. So they're basing just off appearance, who the leader of the tribe's going to be. And the leaders were Mick and Russell Swan of the Galoo tribe. So yeah, and the leaders, it didn't really do anything for me. They just got to choose who sat out of challenges, who got to go over to the losing tribe's camp, and what kind of rewards they would get. That's all they really did. There was really nothing else to it. So yeah, I guess they got to choose who participated in the first challenge as well. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. But yeah, it was one of only 2 challenges that Foa won. They won an immunity challenge later, a few episodes later, and then that was it. Galoo just swept everything, including the do-it-yourself challenges, which, is there an editing error in that challenge, where they're throwing the ball and they have to land it near a stick? I swear there's an editing error there, because after Dave throws his ball, it bounces past the stick off of the yellow ball that's closest to it, and then in the next shot, you see the ball, it rolls up right next to the stick. It's whoa. What is this editing? So, yeah, the editing was really weird this season. It was really weird. And, of course, nobody got screen time because Russell was taking it all up. It was him and Shambo, basically. They were the only ones who ever really got any screen time. And that includes Brett, who went on an impressive 3 immunity challenge run toward the end of the season. He won 3 straight immunity challenges. He was going to be voted off every time if he didn't win. They finally got him at Final 4 after he lost to Russell in the final immunity challenge. But yeah, and he 100% would have won the game if he had won that final immunity challenge. and 100% would have been one of the worst winners ever gameplay-wise because he didn't do anything. And I don't know if that's his fault. He was just not given any screen time. So, yeah, because again, it was so focused on Russell the whole time. And you know what the sad thing is? Russell, despite all the screen time he got, didn't even win the game. That to me is a crime against the survivor gods, a crime against humanity. How does Russell not win this game? It is absolutely abysmal how bitter this jury was. Like, other than Shambo and John, they were the 2 votes for Russell. They were the only 2 votes for Russell. Everybody else was so goddamn bitter. And it's not like they showed it in their jury questions, well, except for Eric. We'll talk about him in a second. But, like, Jason was asking about, like, everyone, like, he was trying to say, base it off the game, not, like, off who needs the money, or something like that. I don't remember his exact jury argument, but, yeah, like, no one really sounded all too bitter, aside from maybe Laura, and then, of course, Eric. Eric, oh my god, his jury speech was so goddamn petty, it was actually kind of cringe, and the music they played over it, I was like, oh my god, what am I even watching right now? So dumb. Like he's comparing being weak and, like, undeserving to lying, cheating, and stealing. His argument made absolutely no sense. It was very clear to me that he was bitter. And the funny thing is, Russell's not even the one that brought up the idea to vote Eric out at Final 12. It was Natalie that did that. And that's who he voted for. Like, that was Natalie's one move this entire season. That and killing a rat. Those were her 2 moves the entire season. Getting, like, all the Galoo girls to vote Eric out. And then the whole rat thing. That was it. That's all she did this season. Other than that, she was just riding Russell's ass the whole time. And she won the game for it. Like, yeah, and don't give me all this BS about the social game and how Russell didn't manage the jury well. I thought he managed the jury fine this season. Heroes versus Villains is a different story. We'll talk about that in next week's review. But, yeah, like, I thought his jury management was alright. I don't think he was, like, yeah, he was cocky. He was super arrogant. He was so full of himself, but he wasn't necessarily, like, mean to anybody this season. At least I don't think he was, from what I remember. Like, he did talk down to Natalie a couple times because she mentioned, like, how much money he made, but, yeah, and then the only other people he really talked down to were the people that he voted off pre-merge on the Foa tribe. Other than that, he was trying to get his alliance of 4 to the end. He did everything he needed to do. He pulled off, like, one of the greatest upsets in Survivor history. It's up there with the Aitutaki 4 in Cook Islands, really, because they were at an 8-4 disadvantage too. And the only difference was they didn't go to the merge until it was 5-4. It was 8-4 at the merge of this season, and Russell somehow managed to pull it off. He carried Natalie, Mick, and Jason all the way to the end. Jason won a couple of immunities to help himself. So did Mick, I think. But other than that, this was Russell's game. Like, this was Russell's game. And he managed to bring his tribe back, and he should have been given credit for it. The jury was just mad that they got outplayed. So, yeah, I don't understand why people think, like, yeah, sure, Natalie may deserve to win, but not over Russell. Like, you cannot tell me that she was a better player than Russell. You just can't tell me that, and you can't change my mind about that. So, yeah, I think she's one of the weakest winners ever. It's a crime that she somehow beats the guy who dominates the season and dominates the TV screen. Like, we barely even know anything about Natalie, and yet she's here winning the game. So, yeah, like, Samoa was a very up and down season for me, kind of a middle of the road. I don't love it, I don't hate it. It's just okay for me, and part of that was because of Russell. Like, he definitely carried the momentum of the season, but then again, it was at the cost of getting to know the other cast members. There just weren't really that many memorable moments that were not from Russell. Like, all the memorable moments this season were because of Russell, pretty much. The only other ones were like the medevacs, which is tragic because no one likes seeing people get pulled from the game against their will because of a stupid health problem. No one likes seeing that. Like, you wait all these years to play Survivor only to get pulled for medical reasons pre-merge. Like, no one likes seeing that. Other than that, there was a guy getting tossed from a challenge. There was the eating challenge, I don't know. This season was just a huge mixed bag, and it's saved by Russell, pretty much. That's the best way I can describe it. So with that being said, I'm going to give Survivor Samoa a 5 out of 10. I think that's a good score for it. It's kind of right in the middle for me. 5 out of 10. Yeah, I know it sounded like I ranted a lot. That was mainly because of who won the season. I think she's one of the weakest winners ever, and I think Russell should have won it. He dominated the season. I guess the editors didn't want to make it too obvious who the winner was, so they decided not to give Natalie as much screen time. So, which makes no sense to me, but whatever. Anyway, guys, have you seen Survivor Samoa? What did you think about it? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. And next week, we talk about a season that many people describe as the best Survivor season ever. And that, of course, is Survivor Heroes versus Villains. So stay tuned for my review of that season next week. You'll get my full thoughts on that season. And whether I agree, disagree, or I'm kind of neutral with everyone else on the season. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel for more videos to come in the future. And until that next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember, stay California cool. Peace.